and holds 2 master's degrees from George Washington University. He is the son of Fernando Rodel Tiongson from Pangasinan, Philippines, who survived World War II in the Philippines and enlisted with the U.S. Coast Guards under the Philippine Enlistment Program. Ladies and gentlemen, Vice Admiral Tiongson.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a true honor and privilege to be here with you today. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you once again to Mr. Ron Campbell and the San Francisco National Cemetery for hosting this vitally important event. Thank you to our flag and general officers here today, Lieutenant General Tony Aguto, U.S. Army retired, Vice Admiral Jody Breckenridge, United States Coast Guard retired, Major General Alden Rigua, U.S. Army retired, Rear Admiral John Yon, U.S. Navy retired, Rear Admiral Tom Andrews, U.S. Navy retired, Brigadier General Stephen McLaughlin, U.S. Army Reserve, Brigadier General Marlene DeSalle, U.S. Army Reserve. Thank you to those who are in the procession today, the color guards, the women and men in uniform, members of the Consular Corps, and all those here today as we commemorate the 83rd anniversary of the Bataan Death March, as well as the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II in the Pacific. Today, we honor the legacies of those who have fought to protect our nation, our world, who helped ensure that we, those of us here today, remain safe, secure, and prosperous. Thank you. Let's give a round of applause to all of those individuals. And thank you once again to the Bataan Legacy Historical Society, especially Miss Cecilia Garland, for the invitation to be here and speak with you today, and for your friendship. Outstanding once again. The mission of the Bataan Legacy Historical Society is incredibly important to me. The mission statement: to instill civic pride and engagement in young adults through the lessons of World War II in the Philippines from the perspectives of Filipino and American soldiers and civilians. Thank you for your selfless drive to help us appreciate the significance of our shared history. Cecilia, I don't know how you do it, but you're incredible. I think it was just mentioned, so I am the son of a U.S. Coast Guard Senior Chief Petty Officer, again, a man who was born in 1934 in Pangasinan, who found a path from the Philippines to U.S. citizenship through service. He started out in the Philippine Army, and then transitioned as a steward in the U.S. Coast Guard, and then he stayed there and served this nation for 28 years. He served this nation during the Vietnam War, earned a Navy Medal with a V for valor, and he instilled in me the incredible pride of my family's Filipino-American heritage. And frankly, I am honored, simply honored, to carry that pride forward today. As commander of the United States Coast Guard Pacific Area, you've heard a little bit about it, but my area of responsibility extends from the Rocky Mountains across the Indo-Pacific, the Arctic and Antarctic regions, to the east coast of Africa. I describe it from polar bears to penguins, from Hollywood to Bollywood, and a little bit more. That's a vast area. And the U.S. Coast Guard maintains a presence across all of those 74 million square miles of oceans in more than 70 countries to assure our national security and economic prosperity. My more than 14,000 Coast Guard men and women offer a unique value proposition throughout the Pacific. We protect, we defend, and we save. We are a military service under the Department of Homeland Security, which protects and defends our nation. We save lives, control the U.S. maritime borders and approaches, and ensure the operation and defense of U.S. maritime critical infrastructure and our waters, in our waters, and certainly on our high seas. For over 235 years, we have fought in our nation's war and much more. Our nation's strong partnership with the Philippines is built on history and lessons from the past, some great and some tragic. I have personally traveled to the Philippines on several occasions. I have been in Corregidor. I have walked through the old U.S. Army fort and saw the immense devastation that only war can bring. I walked through the mountain-based tunnel which protected General Douglas MacArthur, U.S. forces and Philippine forces for months during heavy Japanese bombings. I have looked across from Corregidor, across that water, to the Bataan Peninsula, imagining the evil that war can bring. And I have visited the Manila American Cemetery to honor those U.S. service members for their ultimate sacrifice. Today we stand on the shoulders of so many thousands of brave World War II, Korean War, and Vietnam War veterans. Some here with us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your service. On April 9, 1942, the United States surrendered the Philippine peninsula of Bataan to the Japanese Imperial Army, leaving behind 63,000 Filipino and 12,000 American troops. Despite rampant disease and deplorable sanitation, and certainly no air support, our nations and the Philippines' brave warriors held Bataan for 99 days, disrupting the plans of the Imperial Japanese Army. After the surrender, the Japanese Army marched the captured to prisoner of war camps. During this horrific march, 5,000 to 10,000 Filipino soldiers and up to 650 Americans died. I'm not going to go over the details of the atrocities committed during that march. For those who survived, the prison camps were even worse. Prior to the U.S. surrender at Bataan, General Douglas MacArthur evacuated to Australia, where he vowed to the people of the Philippines that he would return to Bataan. Those historic words, we all know them, "I shall return," gave those remaining prisoners of war hope to endure the next 2 years under Japanese control. Today, we honor, remember, and salute the Americans and the Filipinos who were lost at Bataan. We salute those who survived captivity. We salute those resilient service members who built their own internal hope along the path of the 65-mile death march and in those horrible prison camps. I must share with you the U.S. Coast Guard's small but significant contributions to the campaign to defend and then retake the Philippines. When I visited the Manila American Cemetery, I spent time at the Coast Guard section reflecting on the sacrifice of those men. Men like Lieutenant Thomas Crotty, a 1934 graduate of the United States Coast Guard Academy who was captured during the defense of Corregidor, Manila, and Bataan in the Bataan Peninsula. Lieutenant Crotty was one of those brave men who died in a prisoner of war camp in the Philippines. And in a prior station, I was what we call a 1st District Commander in the Northeast, and it wasn't until that point, in and around 2019, that we were finally able to lay him, Lieutenant Crotty, to rest in his hometown in upstate New York, after his remains were identified by the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency. An honor to do that and be part of that. That linkage, again, between us and the Philippines. Today, as I look back on the legacy of heroes like Lieutenant Crotty and so many others, I am inspired by the relationships we have since built and maintained with not only the Philippines, but places like Japan, Korea, Singapore, Vietnam, Palau, Samoa, Fiji, New Zealand, and Australia, and so many other Pacific nations. The message is simple. Do not stop studying the past. Do not forget the bravery and sacrifices that brought us here today. Sacrifices like those at Bataan, Guadalcanal, the Aleutians, Leyte Gulf, Iwo Jima, later in Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and so many other places. I am honored to be the son of a Filipino immigrant who served this nation for nearly 30 years, and now myself wearing this uniform for 40 years. I salute our brave service members who have given their lives for freedom. I salute our service members serving around the world right now, today. And I salute the loved ones at home, supporting their sacrifice to ensure we remain safe, secure, and prosperous. Thank you for joining us here today to commemorate these events and honor those who came before us. God bless and Semper Paratus. Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral Teonson. We are very honored to have with us today veterans from World War II and the Korean War. Sergeant First Class Floyd Payne, United States Army, who served in the Aleutian Islands during World War II. Pharmacist Mate Anthony Malin, United States Navy, who served during World War II on board LST-350 in Normandy and LST-816 in Iwo Jima and Okinawa. Corporal Luther Hendricks, United States Marine Corps, 51st and 52nd Defense Battalion, the Montfort Point Marines. Staff Sergeant Pedro Pineda, United States Army, 12th Medical Regiment, Philippine Scouts, and the U.S. 6th Army, who served during World War II in the Philippines and the Korean War. Corporal Robert Meyer, United States Army, 5th Regimental Combat Team, 1st Cavalry Division, who served during the Korean War. And Corporal Joseph Mickelson, United States Army, 279th Regimental Combat Team, 45th Infantry Division, who served during the Korean War. Today, we honor them for their selfless service and sacrifice to our nation. Today we will honor them with several honors and certificates of recognition. The certificates of recognition from the California Military Council will be presented by its chair, Vice Admiral retired Jody Beckenridge, United States Coast Guard, with Vice Admiral Andrew Tiongson, United States Coast Guard, with Lieutenant General Antonio Aguto, United States Army retired,